Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So here we are at game 8 of the World Championship 2023. As you know, after 7 games, it is 4.5 to 3.5 in favor of Nippon Miyashi, right? So today we get to game 8 after a rest day. First of all, I'm a bit sorry since I have something to do in last evening. So only be able to do it now. But okay, I think not too late. I think so. So we got, just tell you first, a very interesting game and plenty of, I would say, missing chances. All kind of things. Yeah, I will try to go through the opening phase pretty quickly so that I can show you plenty of funny lines and, interesting stuff in the middle of the game. But let's prepare for, I will say, what a game. And once again, this one just marks what I can say, a super interesting duo that nobody can ever expect. So let's go right away, right? D4, knight f6, c4, e6, c3. So we got something called ninja wedge, right? Or ninja Indian defense. e3, the normal line here. Obviously, queen c2 can be played, a3 as well, knight f3, bishop d2, plenty of things, even g3. e3 is just basically something that is obviously playable. So here, obviously, you can see that in 8 games, we got 8 different openings, right? So that makes the match just become so fun. Castles, a3. So, obviously there's so many things we can play here. This, and a3 is also a thing as well. Takes, d6, okay, an understandable choice. a2, c5, g3, c6, and rook a2. In fact, it is not so easy here to explain this move. I would say it just can be called like a mysterious rook move. Something, that will be useful later on. Like somehow the rook can travel through a second rank, like maybe like here, or even f2, and some other things later on. b6, a very natural ideas here. For black who play this kind of ideas, so the idea is to play like bishop a6 and knight a5 is very typical. e4, a6, g5, a6, and h4. So we got a sacrifice. In fact, this kind of ideas is very common, especially if you get rook still on the h file. Ding obviously showed that he wanted to go all in, like he wanted to go for the win for sure, right? So here, take the bishop should be obviously the most principal options, but rook e8 also is playable as well, and I think Ding may prepare rook d2, I don't know. Back to the game. Takes. So here the threat is simple. The knight is being threatened. The knight run away, let's say 97. So this one comes next, right? And this is just over with this very typical ideas. So in the game, take here, take g6. Understandable. The queen can become a defender here. Takes, and e5. A very interesting ideas. Sacrificing a pawn in order to free the e4 square for the knight. And ready to go for the strong attack. So, takes d5. Knight e4, maybe just like queen f4, I think black should be fine here. So d5 is a better choice first. Force black to make a decision. Here, so black can have so many options. Knight e5 probably is fine, but looks a bit dangerous, right? Since the knight to go away from your kingside defense. Apparently, as you can see here, that, white can try to go like knight e4, queen g4, attacking in h file, but black should be able to defend if he tried to play like correctly. In the game, so knight e7 was played. d6, obviously, good. Okay. Once again, get more space and even get a strong pawn there. Now rook a2 become very strong, right? d2 can be played, and the pawn suddenly can be supported from behind, which is, a very odd rook maneuver, but turned into a good one, isn't it? a5. Here, I think the idea can also be try here, pin the queen, right? But then just the queen a4, I don't know. I mean, like, even like, knight a4 first, I don't know, knight a4, queen g7, so here, but like f5 is extremely engine due to our silicon friend. In the game, knight I was playing, knight a4, queen d8. The queen must keep an eye on the d6 pawn, obviously, and also on the square, so that the knight can run here if needed. So queen g7, like g4, and then let's say bishop here, bishop g2, and I think the knight on f5 literally is trapped, right? Back to the game. So queen d8 was played. Now g4 doesn't really work here due to this and this wood, right? And black, in fact, can win the game right here. So in the game, d3, 3 in the queen. g7, oops, I don't mean that. My fault. Okay, where is the move here we are looking at? Okay, here. g7 here, g4. Take the knight. So here, it's not too easy here for the move. In fact, the knight run will not be so good. Let's say here, for instance, right? I mean, g5 and then f4, and basically the idea of white is being revealed. The rook swing to the h file, and the attack looks more than decisive. g7, take here, and then basically the nice pin, and black can get the material back. Rook 3, get the rook away from the pin, and still ready for the attack. In the meantime, so apparently it gets away this square from the queen and make the attack become slightly harder. Knight h4. The knight go to h4. Looks bad, but in the meantime it can still block the h file, and the knight may still be safe here. g5. So here the threat is that now the knight is being attacked again, right? And h5 is going to be open again. Now f5 is better to f4, and it leads to the same kind of portion earlier, right? When the pawn here, when the rook here attack in the open file. Let's use the sample line here. This, rook h3, queen h3, and then after take here, and then d7. So here takes, and then d7, right? And the pawn promotes. So g5 here, the best way to play is to h8. Not an easy one indeed. Here, so the best way I think is like queen g3, and then rook e4, rook h4, takes and bishop f3, prevented f4. And then, I mean, I don't know. The engine thing is fine, but I can understand why it looks a bit annoying here. Like queen h8, like here rook d8, and I think black can still have adequate defense. Although, to be honest, I might prefer white here. Looks like we can play here, for instance, right? But to the game, e4. This move here is considered to be a blunder, but not very easy to exploit that. In Twitch at this time, like, people are screaming, people's like, okay, Ding is gonna win here. And I think Fabi just turned up and he said something very, very precise. We will be able to figure out later on. Queen e4, knight f5. Lead to exclamation mark. So queen e5 just allow f6, right? And doesn't do things here. Queen h1 rook h8 doesn't do things either. But rook e2 is very, very strong. Here the thing is simple, that the threat now is queen e5, right? And here can be a plan. The pawn now is covered, and a very natural choice is with queen g5 can run into queen e5, f6, queen h2. And I mean, there's like a very famous line which is revealed by the commentators, I think by Anish Giri. This takes, takes, exclamation mark. And d7, right? And the pawn promotes. And I win the game somehow, right? So that is like one of the only good tactic options here. Now a6 allow f4, and the knight here is dead, isn't it? So in the game here, d2, somehow black is in real trouble. Take here queen a5 is not even a better alternative, isn't it? What you guys play? In fact, as I mentioned earlier, Fabi just came to Twitch chat and said something, right? And this is what he said. In fact, after the Twitch chat here, it's not too easy here for white to convert. In fact here, so queen e5 f6 is not too clear as now the h file is covered. Now the only way to win is this, which was playing the game. But now rook d3 exclamation mark. Look at this. This is the ideas here. And now this just finished the game. Why? This now the queen cannot lift the back rank, right? You can drop here, and rook h3 just became such an annoying threat. So rook d8 for instance, right? Rook h3, queen f8 here, queen e5, f6 to the pawn. Queen f6 allow rook f7, right? And a deflection that wins the queen. So king f7, drop here, and rook 7, right? And this is just crushing. And I think drop here for instance, f7 and rook e8, and I think black can resign happily here. So rook d3 is the only way to win immediately, and this is the only way. Other moves still wins, but much harder. So I mean, for me, so this one looks like, you know, a kind of engine stuff. Since, you know, I mean, naturally the pawn push looks so easy, right? Since it can, like, you know, really force black to be careful. I will show you an example here again. The king h8 for instance, right? Now you can play d7. The threat is queen a8, right? Queen a8. And queen. Let's king g7, right? Takes and queen and win the game. And here, the only choice, I mean, only thing black can do here to stop that is rook b8, but it still allow queen e5 and queen b8. Similar ideas, right? So the pass pawn seems very, very powerful. That I think is understandable why Ding chose to push the pawn here, d7. Rook d8. Black is still much worse, but not as last as before. Queen e5. Check here. Check here. Okay, here. Okay. After some checks to win time and reach closer to move 40, e7. Obviously, they want to win the game. So here, the idea is just like to take the pawn here, and then go for here maybe as well. So queen h4. So this move here, although marked by the engine, question mark. For me, it is a very good try. Queen f8 here may be a better defense, more stubborn, but then like what can just play like queen a7 and queen here, and then take a pawn here, and I think the pass pawn can be able to decide the game on white favor. So queen h4 here, the threat is just to take here, right? So the way to win here is queen d8. That's not easy. So queen e4. Alright? Bishop e2, checks, and here again. King d1, checks again, and here again, right? So e2 only choice to go for the win. King b1, king d2, king b2. King d1, king b1 will be repeated. So king d3, king b1 checks. Only choice again, queen d1. King f1 here doesn't work due to king d2, and the king run via the queen side, right? So queen d1 check here, king e4 exclamation mark. Only chance to go for the win. Now here, king to e5 will be very easy, since now there's no more checks, and one can simply win a game. So queen e4, queen c2, only choice, right? Queen g4, I think just king e5, and once again, no more checks. So queen c2, and bishop e3. Happens, right? And checks here, king e5. Very brave king, isn't it? Queen here, and then the queen. Check here, queen e6, and here queen e4, and check run out pretty shortly, and the game is over. But as mentioned earlier, especially here, I think Ding only get around 20 minutes on the clock, right? It's hard to blame him. Like, he just believes his opponent, which is fair. For me, so when I see queen h4, I was a bit worried too. So I can understand. But that's the way to win. Which he once again missed. King d1. Run to the safety. But sadly it dropped the pawn here. And now it's not easy anymore. c2. Queen e7. g2 here. In fact, so I will say this is what I kind of suggest myself in Twitch chat. You know, I think at that point the commentators claiming for king b3, guys. Go for this one. Which for me is once again so inhuman, you know. Considering that the queen is still on the board here, so go for the king walk. Maybe a bit premature. But this is the way to win here by the engine. And yeah, just engine stuff. For me, I see this move here, and I want to play this one, defend the pawn, right? But sadly here, there is a wonderful 7 resources. 94, exclamation mark. So takes here, takes, queen e4. So takes here, and queen e3, and here queen e4. And the ending should be a draw, with 3 pawns for the bishop. And white has no passers, and that should be a draw here, eventually. But here, I'm pretty sure Nepomniachtchi just play fast again. So he e5. e4, exclamation mark. Threaten through the knight. Here, if the knight was threatened away, it should be devastating for black. Let's say here for instance, right? So takes, and now just like in rook d1, go for this. Even f3, even king b3. I mean, so many ways to play for a win here. You can see that black is just fully tied up, right? And this one should be winning for white. So in the game, knight e6 here, understandable. Queen e7, and g4. The idea here is to play knight f6. Also, another idea that will be reviewed in the game. Here, the only way to win, I mean the clearest way to win, I think is this move. Defending the pawn, right? The portion is very tricky here. Black must play e4 to go for some counter play. Queen b6. e3 just take here and king b3 and the king is safe. So knight e5 and queen e7 here. I don't know. Maybe just bishop e5. I think this one earlier is better. Defend the pawn, right? Defend the pawn. And here and the queen e7. And then the knight here doesn't do much. I think the idea here is like, you know, here. And they should be winning for white eventually. But didn't play here instead. And now there comes a wonderful resource from Nepomniachtchi, which secured draw for him. Now f2, exclamation mark. Why? Since here, so rook f2 in the game, only choice, right? If not, like just play e4 and somehow now he got very dangerous counterplay. So takes and e4. So here somehow suddenly black has plenty of counterplay. This is nice. The king is actually weak here as well, right? The passers can be strong, which can be supported, and somehow the white's pawn structure is not too good. Obviously, Ding wishes he could play. I mean, he did play here earlier, but he's one tempo slow. e2, f5, defend the pawn. Queen b6. This is move 40, and I'm pretty sure Ding played this move here when he got 4 seconds on the clock. So in fact, I would say the way to play for black here, if Nepomniachtchi want to go for the win, is queen e7, rook g2, queen d3, king b2, queen here, and then I guess it should still be a draw. Let's say here, and then like h5, I don't know. But this one, you must be careful. Your pawn is fairly slow, right? And black will be very, very fast. So somehow here, I think Nepomniachtchi just content with a draw. Rook b7. So queen b8. Queen here, trade, stress, and bishop e4. And it's a draw. So takes here and rook e8. And players agree to a draw here. Once again, This one is very nice, and this one is just an epic game, isn't it? So, a very fighting spirits from both players who are taking risks to win the games, especially White. Apparently, you can see the players make some mistakes in the game, you know, especially Ding in the conversion. But obviously, as I mentioned earlier, these moves are not so easy to be found for a human. And with all the tension around him, it's just hard to blame him, I feel. But whatever it is, for somebody like me, and for somebody like, you guys who just want to see great chess, want to see entertaining and tense duo, I think we are getting what we want. So once again, thank you for all players. Thank you for 2 players to playing this. And obviously, I hope we can keep on enjoying the match, since it should be one of the most dramatic matches in the entire World Championship history. See you guys in game 9, and peace.